All right. Good evening, South Arkansas. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Fifth and Goal, hosted here live at Mystic Creek here in El Dorado. Huge shout out to our friends over here for allowing us to make this happen, and we are so thankful. And then one more thing, guys, is we just want to say a huge thank you to our followers for your support, your kind comments, and just all of the kind things that we've heard from everybody. We want to say thank you so much. And we also want to include that we understand some concerns and maybe even some frustrations with the quality of the stream on Facebook, and we totally understand that. And guys, I promise you, we are working to make that better. And we've purchased new equipment, new software. We're trying to make everything as good as possible for you guys as we can. So thank you for your faithful following, and just know that we're doing everything that we can to make South Arkansas now the best product that it can be. So thank you so much. And so now I'm going to bring in Coach Jonathan Hicks from Parker's Chapel. Coach, so glad to see you this week. How was the weekend?
It was. I took some time away and relaxed a little bit this weekend, so it was quite pleasant. I'm glad that the last stream wasn't as great because I was nervous. Now I'm a little bit more comfortable and I'm ready to take on this interview today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's always just a little nerve wracking getting in front of the camera for the first time like this. And so I'm glad that you're feeling a little bit more confident about it this week, Coach. And so I want to go ahead and jump into it. And so this past Friday, you guys faced off against Gurdon, and Gurdon came away with the win, 31-6. And so, Coach, I mean, what was the biggest drawback for you? Do you think?
Penalties. As I told my team, it comes down to discipline. We lost because Gurdon was more disciplined and they played hard. We have to attack that this next week, disciplined and ready to go also.
Yeah. I mean, if you hear any coach talk about it, you'll know that they are very big on discipline.
Yes.
You got to have discipline on the line. You got to have discipline during and after the play,
Yes.
and penalties will always set
Yes.
you back.
I
So
mean, we had 300 so offensive yards and almost 200 yards of penalties. So I mean, you basically beating yourself right there.
you're right. I mean, almost 200 yards in penalties, that will definitely set you back, whether you're on offense or defense. It'll
Yeah.
it'll kill the momentum that you're building up, and it's just not something that you want to see your team go through. But coach, what are some of the things that maybe your players did well? What are some of the things that y'all executed well?
I think we got back on track with our running game. We had over 200 yards running. Uh, it would be nice to have a little bit more, but it was nice to see us get back on track with that and getting back into our ground and pound and drain the clock running game.
Yeah. And so, what are you wanting to see your team do better? Looking back at the game against Garden, other than penalties, you said that the run game was strong, and so how did the run game set up the passing game?
The passing game was there. We had what we wanted. It's just we gotta be more accurate and catch the ball more. I mean, it's just the little things that people take for granted. I mean, you look at Sunday, you look on Sunday NFL football. Every time a pass goes and it's an open guy, it feels like it's a caught ball. Well, we got to get back to that in at Parker's Chapel.
Right. And you know, one of the things that will kill a drive as you're going down is a dropped pass on a third down,
Yeah.
or maybe even on a second or first down. It
Mhm.
hurts your momentum. It keeps you from going forward. And so, how do you feel that your defense could improve in the coming week?
Uh, Defense is pretty much the same as the Foreman week. We did a decent job in the first half. It's just second half we don't get the stops we needed to stay in the game. It was 17-0 going in the half. It would be nice to go in second half and say, all right, let's let's get a couple stops and let's get a couple scores. And but every time we needed to stop, that's when they scored. And I tell my kids all the time that 17-0, we should have went in 10-0. That first touchdown they scored was on my fault because I I thought it was gonna be a play, it wasn't, and so I take that one on the chin, and we got to move on as a defense. But I've been impressed with our defense the first 2 weeks. Honestly, uh, it hasn't. Now, Gurdon rushing yards wouldn't say that, but we did a good job standing them up and stopping them. It's the big. It goes back to the big plays like Foreman. It's just we can't give up. All right, it's 3rd down and 7. Now we give up a 30-yard play. So it's the big plays that hurts us. Is what's stopping us from being the dominant defense we can be, and it's showing up on the scoreboard.
Right, right. And, a lot of times coaches and players will get so focused on not letting the first down happen that they'll wind up getting torched over the top, or something will happen underneath and the guys crash in just a little too quickly and they're able to make a little shake and bake happen. And so the defense ha- did well, but needs some improvement. And then like you said, you took one on the chin. Hey, that's my fault, and that happens. That happens a lot
Yeah,
when you're coaching, especially when you're early into your coaching career.
correct.
And the best thing that you can do is just say, "Hey, I got that one
Yeah.
wrong," and uh, move on, learn and move on.
Hmm.
And so, Coach, when we come back from the break, we'll talk a little bit more about the matchup in this coming week and the things that we're looking forward to. Uh, but one more thing about this previous game, what can you guys do to make the offense a more consistent? What can you do to keep the offense out on the field so that you give your defensive players a time to rest on the sideline and make adjustments?
It's it starts with us as coaches making the scheme, giving us an advantage as a scheme, and uh players just executing and believing in the play that's called and moving on to the next play if it wasn't a great play. But as coaches, we just got to create a scheme that's put us an advantage and attack the holes that we can and where we have the advantage on the defense of the opposing team.
Right, right. And so, guys, we're going to talk more about the upcoming matchup, Parker's Chapel Trojans versus the Dirks Outlaws, after this quick word from our sponsors.
At the Carl Malone family of dealerships, Ford El Dorado, Chevy El Dorado, Toyota El Dorado, and Carl Malone Toyota of Ruston, the mailman always delivers. With over 200 brand new vehicles and over 150 quality pre-owned options, you're sure to find the perfect ride. Looking to sell? We'll buy your vehicle, paid on the spot. 4 dealerships, one name you can trust, Carl Malone. Because when it comes to great deals, the mailman delivers.
Non-stop phone calls, registered mail, repossessions, or threats of lawsuits from creditors, and it seems like no one is willing to let you hit pause and just catch your breath. You need the help of Robert Rushing and the Rushing Law Firm. Bankruptcy is not the end. It can be a chance for a fresh start. The Rushing Law Firm goes to work for you, letting you hit that pause button and start over. Call the Rushing Law Firm today at 870-875-2940 or stop by the office at 725 Northwest Avenue in El Dorado. The Rushing Law Firm. Hitting a buck to hang on the wall rarely happens by accident. It starts with preparation, takes some skill, and often even a little luck. Country Village Sporting Goods is your headquarters for all three. Right now, check out a brand new shipment of feeders, so new that they're still pulling them out of the boxes. A huge selection of lacrosse boots and plenty of warm weather camo for that early season hunt. And of course, bow hunters can't go wrong with the sales and service at Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado.
Need equipment for your next job? Don't settle for the traditional rental experience.
The rental experience with Equipment Share is a great experience. We rent everything from dozers to skid loaders, mini excavators, even smaller hand tools. They've always got what we need. They're timely. The billing is quick and accurate. The guys are able to set it up. They do it through their phone. I love Equipment Share. Renting with Equipment Share is not like any other company out there. It's 1,000 times better.
All right, and welcome back to Fifth and Goal, hosted live here at Mystic Creek. And Coach, so we're looking forward to a matchup this coming Friday against the Dirks Outlaws out of Dirks, Arkansas. And that's going to be another non-conference game for you guys. What are you mostly looking forward to for this game?
Um, uh, like I told the kids, we have to get our offense on track. Getting some momentum going into conference. That's the biggest deal with this game. Is that's why it's so huge for us. Is getting on track for conference and going in because our first game is Bismarck, and you want to have your your stuff together and ordered when you go into Bismarck, go against Bismarck.
Right, right. Bismarck is no joke of a program coming out of that southwest, central west side
Yeah.
of Arkansas. A lot of good players, good coaches over there. And so coming into this game against Dirks, you want to have a powerful offense. You want to have your guys getting some momentum, getting some rhythm. And what are some of the things that you're hoping to exploit out of that Dirks defense?
Um, I think I think they're more set up for us. As when I say that is they want to be physical and downhill, and we like physical and downhill because we can take it to you too. We don't like the fast and shifty and move around on your defense. So I think it's going to be a clash between all right, who's the most physical, and I think that's why I feel like we can get after them and get our offense going because it sets up for our type of game.
Right, right. And, when a game becomes about physicality, most of the time the winner is going to be the one who wants it more.
You correct.
And so, and then looking at their offense, what are some things that you're looking to, or maybe what pieces of their offense are you looking at saying, all right, I need to have a plan for this?
The quarterback and I guess their backup quarterback number 4. Those are tall, physical dudes that are athletes. Their quarterback is accurate. He every time he puts it on the money when I watch film, every time the ball goes in the air, it feels like it's a good ball. Um, and number 4 is a big target for the quarterback, which also goes back there and runs the ball, and he's pretty physical downhill. I mean, it always helps when your quarterback runs the ball. You're +1. I mean, so that's 2 things we need to stop.
Yeah, and over the last several years, a lot of coaches have liked going to that +1 running scheme, having a mobile quarterback. And you see that, I mean, you see that at every level. You see it at the high school, college, and professional level where it's no longer about being a pocket passer a lot of times, but they like having that +1, an extra man in the back who can take the ball into his hands and just go upfield with it. And so, we're also looking at a dual quarterback situation that you're looking to have to stop between that. And what do you think that your guys are going to be able to do the best at whenever it comes to either on offense or defense? What do you think your guys are doing the best at? What do you think that they're most focused on? And how do you think that that's going to impact this week's coming game?
Our tackling has improved tremendously. I mean, we have big glares where we're missing, but our tackling has progressed immensely, and I'm looking forward to that because we're starting to rotate a little bit more, keep a little more bodies fresh on defense and offense, and I think it's going to help in the long run, especially with defense um, being fresher out there. And I think that's what's going to help us Friday night is our physical dudes are physical, but they're also fresh.
Right, right. And a lot of times it comes down to who has more time with possession of the football. And so how are you expecting to have your guys extend that time of possession? How are you expecting to see your guys give your guys on defense that break? I mean, we talked about being physical and we talked about making things happen, but when it comes down to it, how do you make those things happen?
Execution, knowing the game plan front and back, just understanding our advantages that we talked about all week and going out there and doing it. And if we're wrong, it's the coaches. It's not you. All right. We'll come back to the drawing board and call a different play, but just know your advantage and going out there and executing that.
100%. And so Dirks is coming off of a 40-0 win against against Mountain Pine. That's putting their record at 1-1. And last week we talked about you having a 1-0 mentality moving forward. And so how do you carry that into this game, knowing that you're about to face off against a team that's 1-1 and was able to put up 40 points against their opponent last week?
Same thing. Go in 1-0. Attack this week 1-0. I think we have done a great job Monday and Tuesday of focusing on Derek's and not being in our feelings about being 0-2 right now. I think our best thing is to attack the next game and get our offense moving forward and getting on track with everything, because I hate to say this, but those 2 games we lost don't help us get in the playoffs anyways.
Right.
So right now it's about us. It's about fixing what we have to do to get moving forward and going into a hard conference and getting into the playoffs.
Yeah. And so, Coach, is this game against Dirks, is it going to be at Dirks or is it going to be at Parker's Chapel?
At Dirks, 2.5 hours at the Holla. I think that's what they call it.
At the Holla?
At the Holla.
Is it the Hollow or the Holla?
Holla. I think it's the Holler, but I was told the Holla, so I'm going to say the Holla.
The Holla. The Holla. All right. Well, guys, get ready to watch the Parker Chapel Trojans at the Holla this Friday against the Dirks. Against Dirks. And so after this break, we're going to come back with Coach Harrison from Smackover and talk about last week's game against the Fountain Lake Cobras. So after this quick word from our sponsors, we'll be right back.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to promedambulance.com. When it comes to protecting your home or business, trust the name that's been serving South Arkansas for 3 generations, Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal. From residential roofs to large commercial projects, the experienced team at Cross delivers quality you can see and reliability you can count on. Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal, built on trust, proven by results. Call Cross Roofing today. Put a solid future over your head.
If you born and raised in Arkansas, make some noise right now. You got
What an amazing place they've built right here in your town.
As the summer growing season begins to slow down, you can still find plenty of homegrown fruits and vegetables at Davis Farms Country Market. Plus, a new shipment of baked goods just hit the shelf. And if you've ever wanted to know the difference between the meat from the big chain stores and locally grown Davis Double D Farms beef, you have to check it out. You'll be amazed, and you may never buy grocery store beef again. All of this and more at Davis Farms Country Market, 4523 Junction City Highway, or call 870-639-1323.
All right, and welcome back to Fifth and Goal, hosted here live at Mystic Creek here in El Dorado. A huge shout out to the crew over here at Mystic Creek. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to make something like this happen. And so now I'm sitting here with Coach Harrison from Smackover. Coach, for the second week in a row here, you and I are getting to talk about a win.
Yeah,
And
it's always a good thing. It's better than the other, right?
Right. And so, Coach, you guys got a 63-28 win over the Fountain Lake Cobras this past Friday. And so, tell me, first off, tell me one thing that we can improve, or that you guys could improve on as a team.
Well, they got a couple onside kicks on us. The kid was kicking those. I call it a watermelon, where he was just sitting it on the ground and he would kick it, and the way it would spin, it would never really get to that point, and we were waiting on it. And so we kind of hopefully worked on that. We have worked on that this practice. Hopefully fixed it. Also, they got to us on a couple of screen plays. We gotta figure out. We had to work on how we fit a screenplay. We really pride ourselves offensively on running screens really well. So they caught us a couple of times in some blitzes, they caught us a couple of times in some blitzes, and some screens. So we got to be a little less predictable in our blitz game, but at the same time, we got to know how to play a screen correctly. And then offensively, they did a good job of blitzing our run game, which that's why we threw for so many yards, because we got to a point where we caught them in some matchups that weren't good for them. But we picked up some stuff that we saw on film, that our kids missed a couple of assignments because they were shooting the backer one way and sending D-line the other way. So hopefully watching film, we picked up some stuff and we know what we need to fix.
Yeah. And then, Coach, let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about the things that your team did well, the things that they really did execute well. I mean, you said that you were able to beat them on some blitz a few times. They did a really good job of blitzing your run game, and so you were able to torch them over the top, it sounds like.
Yeah.
What are some other things that your team did really well?
Well, we come out of the game. When we came out and started the game, they wanted the ball, and we got them to go 3 and out. So as a team, we talked to our kids about getting 6. Our defensive goals, we don't go out there and say we want 250 yards or less, or we want this, we want that. We say we want to get 6. And it doesn't matter what number we get, but we want turnovers, 3 and outs, or 4th down stops. And we feel like if we get 6 of those in a game, we should win the game. We actually got 8 of those. So to start the game, we got a 3 and out. Then they punted the ball to us, and we went on a 13-play drive and scored a touchdown. So that was a really good start to get that 3 and out. We knew they were going to be very explosive on offense. We knew they had some really good playmakers. So we did a really good job of how we came out, stopping them, getting the ball, going down, going up 7-0. And then when they kicked the ball to start us in the second half, we went down and scored again. So those two offensive possessions after the 3 and out and starting in the second half was huge for us. We try to pride ourselves. If we get the ball after halftime, we want to score right before half, and then we want to score right when we come out after half. I read a book a long time ago, and Bill Belichick and Tom Brady used to talk about it. If they looked at it over like a 10, 12-year period of their being together, Brady and Belichick's goal was to score right before half, and they always wanted the ball after halftime. And when they did that, both of them together all those years, they were like 88-3. If they scored right before half and they got the ball after half and they scored again, they were almost unbeatable. So we always push for that. If we get that ball after half, we've got to score right there at that half.
Right. And so actually my partner in crime on Friday nights calling the Wildcat games, Carter Bryant, he mentioned something on the stream that this past Friday night, talking about the middle 8 minutes, the 4 minutes before going into half, the 4 minutes coming out of half.
Huge.
And so
Absolutely.
That sounds kind of like it's lining directly up with the same thing there with what you're saying. And, getting that momentum going into the locker room and then getting that momentum coming out of the locker room.
It's huge.
It's going to be huge for your team and get your guys going.
Yep.
And they were able to put up 28 points. And so where do you feel you guys maybe could have done better defensively to prevent that?
Well, we knew they were going to score a lot of points. I think they're going to score a lot of points all year long. They did a good job of moving their receivers around. They do a good job. That quarterback does a great job getting the ball to his receivers. But really, at the end of the day, they didn't have that many yards. We we matched up with him really well. We got a lot of pressure. We never got a sack in the game, but I think when we went back, he threw it 49 times, and on 26 of the 49 plays, we got pressure on him. And I told you last week when you asked me what we had to do, we had to make him very uncomfortable. But really, there was never a time somebody was wide open. He made some throws, and their kids made some very good catches, contested. We were right there. So I was really happy about that. But like I said, we got to shore up some stuff in the screen game. We also they got kind of in a rhythm, and then they got in a rhythm. They caught us a couple of times in some blitzes where we were trying to bring pressure, and they caught us. But really, I knew that was going to be a good team. I know they're going to score a lot of points. I think they're going to have very good success this year. I think defensively, there's always things you can work on. But if you go back and watch that game, those kids throw and catch about as good as anybody we're going to see this year.
Yeah, and you're right there in that they are a good team. I was going through preparing for this week and preparing for this week's episode to get to talk with you. I watched some of their huddle highlights, and that looks like an explosive team. And so, even though they scored 28, I think that you guys did well to hold them to 28. Because they've got some playmakers, and like you said, their quarterback is really good at getting the ball to his guys, and so great job there. And so yeah. And when you look at your team offensively, you were able to put up 63 points. You talked about their ability to score the ball. That the first drive when you got it back right after the 3 and out, right before going into half, and then coming out of half, you were able to score again. So you're already looking at 21 points there. It looks like you guys were pretty explosive against them. How were you able to pick the holes in their defense?
Well, we caught them a couple of times. We're getting pretty good at moving some guys around. Offensively, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I've never had a kid score 9 touchdowns in a game, and Mitchell Polk had 9 touchdowns in the game. Threw for 6, ran for 3. And so we caught him in those blitzes, and what we were catching him doing was reading flow, and he was pulling it off the backside, or he was faking it and going the other way. And so Mitchell, I think, had 9 rushes for like 136 yards and 3 touchdowns running the ball. And like I told you earlier, we felt like we could pick their blitz up and give Mitchell time, and I think he was 16 of 25 for 305 yards, and he threw 6 touchdowns. Juice caught 9 passes for 174, and 4 of those 9 passes were touchdowns. Braxton Bryant had 5 catches for 95 yards. 2 of those were touchdowns. 2 of them were long touchdowns. So again, we're doing a good job of moving the ball around. I think Joe Brown he had 15 carries for 75 yards. So a lot of guys touching the ball, a lot of guys having some explosive plays. And, that's what we kind of prided ourselves on. We can't go out there and try to throw the ball to Juice every play. We got to throw the ball to Braxton. We got to throw the ball to Jaden Bryan as well. Joe's got to run the ball. We had a couple kids come in and run the ball real well when Joe needed a break. So, and then if we feel like it, Mitchell pulls the ball, we feel like he's one of the best runners in the state. So, we go out there, and I don't try to worry so much about how they're lining up. I try to worry about finding the matchup that's best for us at that certain time, whether it's we like how they're covering Juice and leaving him one-on-one, or they're double teaming Juice and they're leaving somebody else one-on-one, and that's what I'm always trying to look for.
Right. And so, Coach, you're going to face off against Junction City next week, and we're going to talk about that right after this quick word from our sponsors.
For nearly 50 years, South Arkansas floors have been covered by El Dorado Custom Carpets. And not just carpets, but true hardwood, laminate, stone, porcelain, ceramic, marble, and more. And guess what? It doesn't end with just floors. El Dorado Custom Carpets carries a tremendous selection of backsplash, wall tile, and area rugs. The truth of the matter is, one commercial can't come close to telling you everything you can find at El Dorado Custom Carpets, 1601 East Main Street in El Dorado. Call 870-862-4945.
LSB Industries is committed to playing a leadership role in the production of low and no carbon products that build, feed, and power the world. Our El Dorado carbon capture and sequestration project is helping the company reduce its carbon footprint while enabling us to provide our customers with low carbon products.
Every gift tells a story, and at Especially For You, they help you make it unforgettable. Birthdays, wedding showers, baby showers, graduations are just because. Especially for You creates one-of-a-kind gifts made to touch the heart. Anyone can buy a gift card, but the best gifts aren't bought. They're made at Especially For You. Stop by and visit Especially For You and find the perfect gift for life's special moments.
Eric Henry.
Hey, Jake from State Farm. I saved so much bundling, it inspired my workout. Auto! Home!
Okay, and this is Auto again, right?
Auto!
Hey, this is my living room.
Home!
Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan.
The dog isn't allowed on the couch, Derek.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
All right, and welcome back to Fifth and Goal here at Mystic Creek. And so, Coach, we're looking at a pretty big game for the community here coming up this coming week. You're going to face off against the Junction City Dragons, against Coach Ball over there, Junction City. And so, what are some of the things that you're looking for your team to do well against Junction?
Well, we always talk about, we work on us. We're worried about us, continuing with offensive execution, continuing with how we've been playing on defense. That's what we're looking to do well. Very good football team, coached really well. Their kids, very, very good. They got some guys on the field that can do some really special things. And so probably one of the most talented teams we'll play this year in the way of just athletes across the board. They're big, they're strong, they do a lot of good things well. They played a really tough game last Friday night. Came out victorious against a very good team in 2A. I mean, they're ranked number 2 in 2A for a reason. They're a good football team, and we're going to have to play really well. But again, we're going into this game, week 2. We've only got 2 turnovers on the year. And that's one of the things we can't do. We can't give these guys chances. We can't turn the ball over. We can't throw interceptions. We can't fumble it. So we got to take care of the football. And then, especially in the special teams, we can't let them break one in special teams. They do a really good job. They got 3 or 4 guys that when they get the ball in their hands and they go to return it, they can hurt you. So we've got to do a really good job in special teams of staying in our lane, wrapping those guys up, and defensively the same thing. We got to tackle really well Friday night. They're kids, when they get the ball, it takes 2 or 3 dudes to bring them down. You're not going to get that one guy to tackle one of their guys. They run through arm tackles. They run through regular tackles. So we got to get as many people the ball as possible, and we've just got to continue to do the things that we've been doing the last 2 weeks that have made us successful.
Yeah, and when we're talking about a Junction City Dragons football team, I mean, we're talking about a historically good program within the state, multiple state championships just over the last several decades, and they've got Coach Ball, who is sitting right over there for us. And what are some of the things that what are maybe some of the things that you're expecting him to see him attack against you guys?
Well, I mean, number one, they're going to be ready. And last year was a really good game. I think we ended up lost that game by a couple points. It was a great game. I just know, his coaching staff does a great job. They're going to be ready. They're going to do the job of what they do, which is get the ball to the guys, and they're the guys that need to get the ball. They do a good job of that. And like I said, their kids play hard. They got some really talented football players. Their quarterback is very, very talented young man. He's a guy you got to keep your eye on all the time. They got 2 or 3 running backs that can hit the hole. And when they get to the next level, there's not many people in the state that can run those dudes down. So again, continuing to what we did the last 2 weeks is we've gotten a lot of those turnovers. We have not turned the ball over. We've been pretty good on special teams, not giving some stuff up. Defensively, we felt like we played really well getting to the ball. And those are things that we really worked on all offseason and talked to the boys about that we had to improve upon. I think if we get more turnovers this year, that's the same amount of turnovers we had all year last year. So we've done a good job about getting those turnovers. And then, of course, offensively, we've got to continue to execute. This is a good football team. This is going to be a great test for us. We're going to see some really good football teams down the road in the next, 6 weeks of conference. So we know what's coming, and I think this is a caliber team. This is a team that could come in our conference and do very, very well in a 3A conference. So we know we're going to see a good team. We know we're going to be tested really tough Friday night.
Right. And one of the things that when you talk about Junction City football is you talk about their ability to run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, just historically, they've always had a really good running game, and so. Do you plan on maybe stacking the box more or putting more guys on the defensive line, or how do you plan on scheming for that?
Well, it just depends on the flow of the game. When you watch them, they'll do both. They'll get in the wishbone at times, and then they'll get in the spread attack, and they're good in both. That, like I said, their quarterback, very, very talented young man. He can throw it. He can run it. When they get in that wishbone, they're behind that big offensive line. They do a really good job of blocking that up. So again, it's going to depend on what they're in and how we have to play it. So I think, of course, when they're in the wishbone, you've got to load the box. You can't play at forefront. You can't just sit there. You got to put some dudes in the box. And then when they're in that spread, you have to respect their guys on the outside. The guys on the outside are very fast. He'll throw it up. They're very athletic. They go up. They play jump ball really well. Their guys do not wait on the football. When that ball goes up in the air, they're jumping and they're going and getting it. So we got to be ready for that. We've got to be smart in how we play that. And again, it's going to come down to, our defense playing with technique, our defense playing and knowing what your assignment is and being where you're supposed to be.
Right. And so, Coach, is this game going to be in Junction City, or is it going to be in Smackover?
We're at Junction City Friday night. Yes, sir.
So not very far away from home game.
No, it's not far away. I think last year, man, we had some long travel games. And this year we only have maybe two that are really far. I think we go to Horatio this year at one time, but really I think last year we went to Parker's Chapel, and that might have been the shortest trip we had. But man, it's getting on that yellow dog and riding for a long time. So it's very, very it's very good to know that we're not getting on the bus. I think I heard Coach Hicks say just a minute ago they're going to Derrick's, and it's like over 2 hours, right? Derrick's, but you got to do that sometimes, because there's going to come a point where you're in the playoffs, and that second or that third round, you might have to drive across the state. And you got to win a big football game. Those kids got used to getting on the bus. But no, this is one of those times we're going to hop on the bus. We're probably going to be half dressed when we get on the bus. There's no reason to go over there and take forever getting dressed. We're probably going to be to that point when we get off the bus where all we got to do is put our cleats on and throw our shoulder pads on and be ready to warm up and go play. But yeah, it's one of those times where it's a road game, but at least we're not sitting on that bus like poor Coach Hicks. And I know he's talking about going 2 hours and something minutes away. Man, I don't look forward to that sometimes.
No, you're right. A long bus ride can make a long game.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely.
And so, Coach, I appreciate your time tonight.
Yes,
and I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys do this Friday against Junction. And we appreciate your time. And we'll be right back with Coach Ball from Junction City right after a quick word from our sponsors.
When it comes to your family's financial future, peace of mind matters. At Harrison Financial Management, they are right here to help you plan, grow, and protect what matters most. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing wisely, or securing your family's future, they will guide you every step of the way. Harrison Financial Management, your future, their commitment. Did you know that if your home air conditioning unit is already running and you turn the thermostat down to try to make it cooler in the house, you could be doing more harm than good? This is why you call Dyson Service Company the experts of home comfort solutions. That's another way of saying Dyson Service Company helps make your home a place of comfort and relaxation. Call Dyson Service Company today, 862-0409.
You're tough, determined to take challenges head on. But when cancer strikes, you'll need more than strength. You'll need the right care. We provide the tools you need to fight and the compassionate care you need to keep going. Every step of the way. Carti. We're with you.
At Carl Malone Power Sports El Dorado, we've got the biggest selection of ATVs, UTVs, and motorcycles ready to ride today. Take advantage of special financing, unbeatable trade-in values, and service you can trust to keep you on the trails. Whether it's work, play, or pure adrenaline, we've got the machine to fit your lifestyle. Carl Malone Power Sports El Dorado, where selection, savings, and service all deliver. Come see us today.
All right, and welcome back to Fifth and Goal, hosted here live at Mystic Creek. Huge thank you to our guys over here at Mystic Creek and the Mystic Grill, some of the best food you will eat in town. And so I'm sitting here with Coach Wes Abels from El Dorado. He's our defensive coordinator. Coach Abels, tell me just a little bit about who you are first and how you wound up being the defensive coordinator at El Dorado.
Okay, so I'm going into my 18th year of coaching football in the state of Arkansas, and this will be my fourth year as the El Dorado defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Previous 3 years before that, I was the defense coordinator at Magnolia, and then prior to that, I was the head football coach at Hampton for 6 seasons.
Okay, and so sounds like you've stayed around the South Arkansas area. Where are you from?
Originally from Hampton. So born and raised there, went to high school there, and then after that played football at University of Arkansas at Monticello, played linebacker over there, and graduated from over there in 2007.
Okay, yeah. That sounds cool. The Boll Weevils.
Boll Weevils.
Yeah. I did my first 3 years of college at Washita Baptist, and I spent my first 2 years as a student athletic trainer with Coach Knight over there at Coach Shock. And actually, I spent a lot of time with the offensive line with Coach Shockley. And so, I've got respect for the guys over at UAM. Always put up a good game, and I know that you've got some good leaders who poured into you over your time over there. And then Coach, let's talk about Friday night and the win that you guys got against the Camden Fairview Cardinals, 43-27 over Camden, a team that, going into it, we knew that they had a pretty good offense, some pretty explosive players, some fast players. And tell me a little bit more first about how you were able to keep them in check on defense.
Well, we started off, we had felt like we had a good game plan, and when you're talking about a rivalry game, you can just throw out records, you can throw out what it may look like on paper. It's going to be a competitive game. There's always crazy twists and turns that take place during the game, but our kids played very hard. We were able to tackle and keep in check, their best player. We were able to stop the run first. Defensive line played really well. Linebackers played really well. And then when you can kind of make a team one-dimensional, then it helps you out a lot. But, it was a competitive game. We got up on them early and then had some bad breaks, and they made a few plays and got back into it right before halftime. And then we come out in the third quarter, played really well early, and then kind of fell off a little bit. And then they end up scoring the touchdown late. But it was a competitive game. But our kids played very hard.
Right. And, one of the things that we pointed out during the stream on Friday night against Camden was that they had, and forgive me if the number's wrong here, I'm doing it off the top of my head, but I believe they had like 240 yards in penalties, Camden did. And El Dorado had, I know it was over 100 yards in penalties. And so, it seemed like the game was turned into a lot about discipline.
Yeah, we, going back, Coach Hill preaches that all the time with our kids: discipline, doing things right, doing the small things. And if you do the small things, such as taking care of your locker room, being on time, being early to meetings, doing every rep in the weight room, then those things end up paying off on the football field. And I thought our kids did that. And obviously we had our fair share of penalties that we have to work on. But I thought our kids held their composure out there a lot of times when they could have, did something that would hurt our football team.
Right, right. And so talking about things that that the Wildcats maybe could have done better. Other than penalties, I mean, the Cardinals were able to put up 27 total points. And how do you feel the Wildcats can be better going into this next week's game against Texarkana?
So going through how the game kind of played out, they get the ball first, we get a stop. Our offense goes down and punches it right in, so we get the early lead on them. We were able to kick off first, so that's always a big advantage whenever you can stop the offense on that first possession, and then you can score. So now you have the advantage throughout the rest of the game on possessions. And then they end up getting us on a fake punt, and then a couple plays later threw the ball up in the end zone to that Camden always has really good athletes, really good receivers, and they were able to go up, make a play, and score and tied it up. And then throughout the second quarter, we end up getting a little bit tired early in that second quarter. End up having some penalties come back and hurt us, and pass interference calls, and they were able to punch another one in. And then from that standpoint, they end up getting the big interception and returning it for a touchdown right there late in the second quarter when we were up on them. I think it was 28-14 at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So halftime score was 28-21. Then come out third quarter, second half, I thought our defense played really well. We ended up with 3 interceptions there in the second half. And then they ended up punching one in right as time expired after we had kind of subbed out some of our kids. But, it was 27 points, but really as a defense, we kind of look at it as they scored 14 points on our starters. Texarkana can present some similar problems than what Camden did to us. Texarkana's got they play 2 quarterbacks that can really sling the football. They got a couple receivers that can really go up and get it, and they also got good size on our offensive line, a couple good running backs. So they are a complete offense, even though they are young at the quarterback position. So we've got our problems there that we've got to be able to take care of, and obviously against Camden with them throwing the ball deep on us a couple times, and that's what Texarkana likes to do as well. We expect as a staff that they're going to try to attack us vertical with their routes, and so we've been really harping on that with our guys this week to prepare for that, and we try to have some coverages and things like that to be able to help our secondary out.
Yeah, and Coach, I like that you bring that up, and facing off against Camden this past week, Camden actually had a play on their very first drive where we actually wound up getting, or where you guys wound up getting that 3 and out, where you had gotten torched over the top, and I saw from that point forward, you guys tried to make the adjustments and tried to make sure that you always had somebody to prevent that. And so I liked the adjustments that I saw from you guys in that. But Coach, I have been waiting since Friday to talk about this, and that is Lumsey. There was one hit during the second half of the game where he came in and decleated the quarterback from Camden. And actually, I had said during the stream that, if you're looking at your toes and the night sky at the same time, you're probably not having a great time.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a couple of times that the Wildcats were able just to level some Camden players. And so, what have you been focusing on to make sure that your guys are getting there into the tackle and not only getting to the tackle, but completing it?
Yeah, we do a tackle circuit. We've got some really good assistant coaches on the defensive staff, and they do a really good job in our tackle circuit that we do every week of being able to finish the tackle, drive through the ball carrier, all those fundamentals and techniques that you work on in tackling. But we were obviously the more physical team Friday night, and Lumsey is a special player. He's been playing linebacker since the 9th grade on the high school team. We moved him up as a 9th grader, and every year he's had really good games against Camden, and I think this past game he was 12 tackles, 3 for a loss, a sack, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception. So he really had a complete game, and he is very physical. And I think he was end up with 3 of those big hits on that quarterback. So I know he was sore on Saturday morning.
I believe it. I believe it. And then, talking about our offense, the turnaround this week for the Wildcat offense, Cannon had a heck of a game on Friday night, and I think he ended up scoring 6 touchdowns, rushing for 3 and throwing for 3.
I was at 5 rushing.
5 rushing.
And
That's
1
right.
throwing, yeah.
Well, that's right. That's right.
Cannon's a very special player. He is very dynamic. And, if teams attack him and try to bring pressure on him, that's where he's best at, when he starts scrambling and running around, because he is very hard to tackle. And he makes things happen with his legs or his arm. So our offense, first thing we want to do is run the football, and we were able to do that Friday night. And run the football, play fast, try to get the defense tired. And we were able to do that, especially early in the game, and then started that second half and be able to, keep that 2 touchdown, 3 touchdown lead that we had most of the game.
Right, right. And so one of the things that I really, really like about Cannon is his ability to run, and he gives the Wildcats that +1 backfield. But then also J.J. Samuel. I mean, that kid's also pretty special. At one point, I remember seeing he had 3 Camden Fairview players on his back, and he was still running.
Yeah, J.J. Samuel is a very strong kid. As you can see, he's quick, low to the ground. I think he had well over 100 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but sometimes it don't work out that way. But he back squats well north of 500 pounds, so lower body is very strong. And obviously you can see when people trying to tackle him how strong and physical he is.
Right. And I mean, we're talking about a 17, 18-year-old kid who's squatting over 500 pounds. I mean, that's a force to be reckoned with. And so, Coach, we're going to take a quick break, and after that, we'll come back and talk about our game, or your game against Texarkana this coming week, with a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim, and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
More product than ever in the store history. That's what's happening at Union Kennel and Farm Supply. A huge sale is going on right now, including 50-pound bags of deer corn, only $6.50 per bag. 50-pound bags of rice bran, marked $1 off. No one, absolutely no one, has a better selection of small animals, birds, reptiles, saltwater and freshwater fish than Union Kennel and Farm Supply. 1100 West Hillsboro in El Dorado. Or call 870-864-9229.
Buying this boat was a total no-brainer.
Okay, I get it. You say no-brainer and the guy with no brain shows up?
I'm sorry, we met our new boat.
For a new boat? You don't call me. You call State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is...
There?
I was gonna say that.
He's right. Your State Farm agent can help you choose the right coverage for your new boat and your RV. It's kind of a no-brainer. Easy decision.
All right.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Did you know that if your home air conditioning unit is already running and you turn the thermostat down to try to make it cooler in the house, you could be doing more harm than good? This is why you call Dyson Service Company, the experts of home comfort solutions. That's another way of saying Dyson Service Company helps make your home a place of comfort and relaxation. Call Dyson Service Company today, 862-0409.
All right, and welcome back to Fifth and Goal, hosted here at Mystic Grill at Mystic Creek. Huge shout out to the guys over here, guys and gals over here, for allowing us to make this happen. So, Coach, you're looking at facing off against a Texarkana, Arkansas team, the Razorbacks over there. What are some things that, maybe you're spending some extra time in the film room looking at this week as you prepare for this matchup?
Well, a lot of people overlook special teams, but that's one thing that the Wildcats do not, and that's one advantage that we try to have each week as we spend a lot of time on our special teams. We try to find those advantages that we can get. So that's probably the biggest thing is find that advantage where you can um, steal a possession or gain 10, 15 yards here or there. Have good coverage because Arkansas High is always very athletic, always have a lot of speed, and that's one thing that you always have to contain. Also, you want to make sure you take care of all your extra points, be able to maybe block an extra point, block a field goal in a crucial situation. But that's special teams is number one. And then from the defensive standpoint for us, they do present some problems for us. Like I mentioned earlier, they got two really good receivers that can really run and fly, and they've got two good backs. They also play a lot of two tight end sets, which as a defense coordinator, I do not like to play against tight ends because it always messes your alignment up. You have to make your adjustments and your checks and all that stuff. So they do that, and they do a lot of shifts and motions with those guys. And then so you get lined up, then there goes the tight end trading to the other side. Then your defense has to fix their front. So there's a lot of moving parts. So that's one challenge for us is being able to practice against that and make sure that we're sound in all their formations that they may present us. But they run the football well. They pull people a lot, and that's one thing where you want to make sure that you can stop first, and then like I mentioned earlier, we want to prevent the deep ball. Don't let the football go over your head. Keep the ball in front of you, and then gang tackle. Get 11 purple hats to the football, and then get those guys off the field and get our offense back on the field. But defensively, obviously they have a new coach and new coaches, so new staff over there. So things that we've been used to last year is obviously going to be different. New scheme, few new players than last year. So that's one challenge. Because usually you end up, when you have the same coach year over year, you end up getting tendencies on that coach, and you become familiar with what they like to do and those type things. And this is obviously a new staff, so that's a challenge in itself, being able to play against a new coaching staff. But they have a really big defensive line that could present problems for anybody. And once again, when you're really athletic on defense, it can always give an offense issues, especially if they're bringing pressure. And offensive line's got to pick that up. You got to make your adjustments. And then if they're able to play man coverage on the outside, that can also give an offense receivers a lot of issues.
Right. And so, I mean, now Texarkana, Arkansas, they're coming off of a loss against Morrilton, and they lost 41-25, and that actually puts them at 0-2 on the season. And so, what are you telling your guys on offense and defense about facing a team that's coming into El Dorado 0-2 this Friday?
Well, similar situation last year. We come into it, we're 1-1, and they were 0-2 as well. What we can motivate our kids on is last year they lost on the last second play against Catholic, Little Rock Catholic, when they played them week 0.
Mm-hmm.
Catholic beat us last year.
Mm-hmm.
Same situation this year. Arkansas High's up on Catholic. Catholic ends up coming down and throwing a Hail Mary at the end of the game, and ends up beating Arkansas High by a point. So we look at that. We know how good Catholic is. We've had our fair share of issues with them over the last few years in conference play, and they went toe to toe with Little Rock Catholic. So that's what we're using to help motivate our kids, because our kids are aware of that, how good they are. Another thing is Morrilton is a really good offensive football team. They score a lot of points. And so that's one thing that, and Arkansas High was able to score some points early on Morrilton. So our kids are trying to focus on that. And we feel like we're ready to go, especially being a first home game. When you've been on the road for a scrimmage, road, week 0, back on the road for week 1, our kids are ready to play at home in front of that home crowd, so that we'll be ready to go.
Right. And so, Coach, just one more question for you, and that is, what are you expecting to see the Wildcat offense do well against Texarkana?
Well, number one, we want to run the football, and I believe our offensive staff, they do a great job each week as far as game planning and then planning practice and getting our kids ready, and I expect nothing less this week. But last week, we had an advantage and we were able to play fast, snap the football, get a defense tired. As a defense coordinator, I don't want to see that. But on the other side, if our offense can do that and go punch it in the end zone, then it's an advantage Wildcat. So I expect us to be able to do that on Friday night.
Right. I mean, it's always about time of possession and giving your defense time to rest, time to get catch their breath and make the adjustments that they need to make. And so, Coach, thank you so much for being out here and coming and stepping in for Coach Hill this week. And to the people watching at home tonight, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. We weren't able to have everybody, all of the programs on the show this week. We have reached out and extended the invitation, but it wasn't accepted by everybody. Hopefully we're looking at having everyone on the show next week. And Coach, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Non-stop phone calls, registered mail, repossessions, or threats of lawsuits from creditors, and it seems like no one is willing to let you hit pause and just catch your breath. You need the help of Robert Rushing and the Rushing Law Firm. Bankruptcy is not the end. It can be a chance for a fresh start. The Rushing Law Firm goes to work for you, letting you hit that pause button and start over. Call the Rushing Law Firm today at 870-875-2940 or stop by the office at 725 Northwest Avenue in El Dorado. The Rushing Law Firm. Hitting a buck to hang on the wall rarely happens by accident. It starts with preparation, takes some skill, and often even a little luck. Country Village Sporting Goods is your headquarters for all three. Right now, check out a brand new shipment of feeders, so new that they're still pulling them out of the boxes. A huge selection of lacrosse boots and plenty of warm weather camo for that early season hunt. And of course, bow hunters can't go wrong with the sales and service at Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
If you born and raised in Arkansas, make some noise right now. You got
What an amazing place they've built right here in your town.